Marriage wisdom for wives who want a long marriage. There is a kind of damage that doesn't leave bruises. It doesn't raise voices. It doesn't make headlines, but it changes a man. It is called broken spirit. And sometimes it happens slowly inside a marriage, not through betrayal, not through abandonment, but through constant tearing down, correction without kindness, criticism without restraint, public disrespect, mocking tone, comparison, dismissal. A man's spirit does not break from one argument, it breaks from repetition. When effort is never enough, when intentions are never acknowledged, when mistakes are permanent labels, when dignity is not protected. And some men do not leave when their spirit breaks. They stay. They go quiet. They reduce opinion. They reduce resistance. They reduce emotional expression. They show up physically, but they withdraw emotionally. And wives sometimes misinterpret that quietness. They call it weakness. They call it softness. They call it lack of leadership. But what if it is wounded dignity? What if it is emotional fatigue? What if it is a man honoring his word even when he feels unseen? There are men who stay because commitment matters to them, because covenant matters to them, because their word is their bond. And staying does not mean he is unhurt. It means he is enduring. But endurance has limits. A man can love you and still be worn down by you. And when dignity erodes long enough, something changes permanently. Long marriages are not built by overpowering each other. They are built by protecting each other's spirit, especially in front of children, especially in front of family, especially in public. When a wife disrespects her husband publicly, she is not elevating herself. She is lowering the emotional climate of her home. Children internalize that tone. They learn what partnership looks like by watching. And a man who feels safe at home stands differently in the world. A man who feels respected leads differently. A man who feels dignified provides differently. Respect is not submission. It is protection of partnership. And if you recognize that you have spoken harshly, mocked publicly, dismissed repeatedly, the answer is not shame. It is correction, private apology, public dignity restoration, changed tone, reduced criticism, increased acknowledgement, because broken spirit can be restored, but only in safety, only in humility, only in consistency. Long marriages require emotional discipline, not ego, not dominance, not humiliation, discipline. And when discipline replaces reaction, respect returns. Strength returns. Warmth returns. There is another layer to this that wives must understand. A broken spirit does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks cooperative. Sometimes it looks agreeable. Sometimes it looks like whatever you say. But inside, something has shifted. When a man feels repeatedly corrected, he stops offering ideas. When he feels repeatedly compared, he stops volunteering effort. When he feels publicly small, he becomes privately distant. And distance is quiet. It does not argue. It does not compete. It simply pulls back. Many wives say they want a peaceful home, but peace built on one person shrinking is not peace. It is imbalance. Real peace is mutual dignity. When a man no longer feels safe to express frustration, he internalizes it. When he no longer feels safe to disagree, he suppresses it. When he no longer feels safe to fail, he avoids trying. And avoidance slowly turns into passivity. Not because he has no strength, but because strength has nowhere safe to land. And here is the danger. A quiet man is not always a healed man. Sometimes he is simply a restrained one. And restrained resentment does not disappear. It stores until one day it reaches a breaking point. Long marriages are not destroyed in loud explosions. They erode through daily erosion of dignity. Small jokes at his expense. Small dismissals. Small eye rolls. Small public corrections. Small comments in front of the children. And those small moments accumulate. And accumulation changes posture. A man who feels honored stands differently. A man who feels humiliated withdraws differently. You must ask yourself, am I building him up privately and protecting him publicly? Or am I correcting him publicly and minimizing him privately? Because children watch everything. They watch how you speak to him. They watch how you respond to him. They watch whether you roll your eyes. They watch whether you mock. And what they see becomes their template for love. If a son sees his father disrespected constantly, he may either become defensive and hardened or passive and unsure. If a daughter sees her father torn down repeatedly, she may normalize disrespect in her future relationships. Marriage is bigger than two adults. It is modeling. It is atmosphere. It is legacy. And restoring a man's spirit does not require dramatic speeches. It requires discipline in small moments. Choosing not to correct publicly. Choosing not to belittle in frustration. Choosing to acknowledge effort. Choosing to apologize when wrong. Yes, apologize. Because humility restores what pride destroys. When a wife says, I spoke harshly, I corrected you in front of others, and I shouldn't have. I didn't protect your dignity. That softens something powerful because restoration begins with ownership, not accusation. not defending yourself, ownership. And when dignity is restored consistently, confidence slowly returns, leadership slowly returns, warmth slowly returns. Broken spirit does not repair overnight, but it does repair in safety. And safety is created intentionally. Long marriages survive not because people never hurt each other, but because they repair quickly. They correct quickly. They humble themselves quickly. And they protect each other's dignity fiercely. That is maturity. That is discipline. That is wisdom. And that is how long marriages are built.